Podcast.
316 says I just whipped your ass.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Podcast 316. I am Derek K. Moore, and with me, as always,
is me, Pat Oates. I am here, as always, sometimes.
As always, sometimes. Well, you're always there in our hearts, Pat.
Aw.
That's what matters. It's a beautiful morning. I am just waking up. That's why we were late to getting started with this. That's my bad. I did the whole AM PM screw up. Classic Seinfeld episode there with the AM PM. So, Pat, you're going to have to take the reins on this one because the brain's still getting going. I'm going to need another cup of coffee here in a minute.
Well, the way we should start this off the way that Raw started off their reunion. Nothing better than John Cena. And
I couldn't book him for the episode, man. I wanted to, but he's a busy man.
He is busy, but now that he has the regular John Cena haircut, he's harder to get. When he had the JBL haircut, anyone could get him. But now he's back. They said something, and I want to get right to the Raw reunion right away because they said something on there that really got me thinking.
What's that?
When he came out, Michael Cole said, in his opinion, the greatest wrestler of all times.
Well, he said that he's a huge Cena guy.
No, I understand that, but he was always saying it when they needed to make him that guy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to anymore, and everyone else was there. He was saying that on a show where the other people from different generations think that. So then I started to think, first I went, oh, come on. But then I started to really think about it and think about the reach he's had, the way he's known. Now, obviously, Hulk Hogan is known because he was the one face thing and being pushed on a thing when no one knew the product.
Mm-hmm.
Stone Cold made that era. But if you take longevity, it's only a couple years. Same thing with The Rock. The Rock had more years of being known and being famous. Stone Cold was super red hot for put it down in equivalent TV show, like 3 seasons. You know what I mean? That's when he was at his biggest. John Cena, for the 12, 15 years, whatever it was, 2 years after, once he started getting the U.S. Championship, was the face, the thing, and everyone knew him, the worldwide, even bigger because of the reach the world had, what's the technology and everything.
Fair enough.
If you take his in-ring presence, his wins, the way they used him, the way they put him over, and all that, he did more. I mean, people make jokes about the 5 moves, all that. He had more moves than Hogan. He wrestled better than Hogan. He made other wrestlers look better, way better than Hogan ever did. So to me, you almost take the two of them and compare them because they are the mostly always. I'm looking at WWE because that's what I say he's talking about. I don't take Ric Flair into this conversation. I'm talking about the great. When they say greatest of all times, they're still believing their universe is the only universe.
Their guys, yeah.
Right. I mean, and Flair is part of that, but when you take Flair and Dusty, they aren't the greatest. They're not even top. To be honest, they're not even top 15 in WWE speak because they didn't have
southern territories as well too.
Right, but they didn't. When they were there, they didn't have those belt runs. You know what I mean? I mean, Randy Orton is higher up on the list than they are when it comes to all time to me in WWE.
In terms of WWE, totally.
Exactly. So when you take what John Cena had done and you compare them to the other ones they were showing of the toast of the whole thing and the biggest stars, he is. I would have to say that he is the biggest, the greatest of all time, because Shawn Michaels was never put in that frame. Shawn Michaels was always thought of the greatest wrestler in being in ring and all that, and a great personality as a heel and things of that nature, but he was never the face. He was never the guy that was going to do the interviews, to be that guy. And that's what it kind of does. Like, that one encompasses everything. He did things, and he was like that, but he was never that.
His biggest run was more when he was heel, and the heels aren't doing the shaking hands and kissing babies shit. So,
and his biggest run as a heel was also when he was in a faction.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? So because of that too, and he was carrying it because they were that was the way to make for Hunter to jump to that next level. But Hunter wasn't known as anything back then, and China was so brand fucking new. And Rick Rude was supposed to be there to help, but didn't really do anything. It really was Shawn in that time, but he had a group, and it wasn't really him. Think about all the things they had to do to make him the top guy, to have Mike Tyson involved, to help Stone Cold go up and all that way.
Yeah.
There was so many other things. Cena never needed anybody.
Well, everything you said so far, like it can't be argued at all. But there is one variable that I think is what sets Cena aside from the other people we've mentioned that could have been, the GOATs as everybody calls it, and that's injuries. Cena only really had that one, I think it was a pec surgery or shoulder surgery where he had to go away for a little bit and then came back at Rumble where, we were talking about Stone Cold where, he was red hot up until, to me, it was up until they did that whole car gimmick and he ended up having to have the neck surgery and had to go away for a while. And when he came back, that's when Rock was a little more established. The Rock, though, stayed fairly healthy for most of his career. When I'm trying to think injuries, I think it was more him just wanting to go and do other things, with the Hollywood thing. Who was one of the other names you mentioned? Shawn Michaels, but even the time with Stone Cold, he was battling that back injury from the casket match with Taker. So another injury. And also, didn't he have another thing before when he had said he had to go find his smile? Was that injury related or was that more him just needing time off?
They said it was injury related, but it was they say now that back then that it's all about what he was going through with the craziness in his life, his mental state. Okay. Injury, I understand. I'm not talking about longevity in that regard. I'm saying,
but don't you think that adds to it?
Well, no,
he's able to be on TV more often. He's able to be in more matches because he's not hurt. It definitely helps to the career. Wrong injury can completely fuck someone up. Look at Ali. We're seeing it right now.
Well, an injury can hurt. Yeah, it can hurt being on. But what I'm saying is when Michael Cole is saying that, when you're talking about from WWE, yes, he got to be there a long time, but he was also homegrown. No one knew him from anywhere else. The Rock, same way. Stone Cold, if you want to look back, found his character, found his voice, if you will, much later. He was many other things. The same thing. Hogan, even though, yes, there was AWA and all that stuff, Hogan from the early 80s on, you think WWE, you think Hogan, and you think John Cena.
Maybe NWO, but the first thing that comes into mind is I'm a real American. Everyone loves it.
NWO, for wrestling fans, obviously is one of the biggest things of all time. But if you just turn to a grandma and say Hulk Hogan, they'll go, oh, the guy in the yellow and red that was American. And
he pulls his shirt off and shows his muscles.
And he was fun. He was friends with that Mr. T fella. That's what they know. they know him, and they know John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
They know John Cena. You ask anyone about wrestling, they'll say Stone Cold, but they wouldn't know anything about him. Oh, is that Stone Cold guy still yelling at people and drinking beers? Gross. The Rock started off there. He's homegrown as well, but then went off and did things the same way. But to me, it's funny when you think about it, Cena was carrying the company when he was the top guy.
And
The Rock had one of the greatest rosters around him. Now, The Rock, I believe if you switch them, I think The Rock still would have had that connection. He was that way. But The Rock, everything fell well for The Rock. Like I said, as you know, I've been watching Raw from the beginning now, and I'm almost at 2001. I'm in the strength of Stone Cold just came back from a who going with a car. Rikishi's about to get revealed. That's where I am when I'm watching all the Raws every week, SmackDowns.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock is the top guy. But right now, he's also having a feud with The Undertaker. And Triple H is having a feud with Kurt Angle and a thing. Jericho and Benoit are on the mid-card. Eddie Guerrero and China. Your roster, your tag teams. Your tag teams are the greatest tag teams. The Edge and Christian, Dudley's, Hardy Boys, whole thing going on. Not to say that, and the Acolytes are just chilling in the corner. You've got Trish Stratus and Lita. Now, Lita's got the belt right now. There's so much going on that there's never a dull moment on the show. When John Cena was running the place, there were dull moments. There were tough times, especially when they first did that real split of the two shows, and he'd have to carry one. It was insane. The pop he got when he came back to the Royal Rumble, still one of the greatest pops you ever hear, from any wrestler ever. And the fact that he has the hate now, he still can just come out and do that. And even the way he was there, I think in people's memories, if you are 35 and younger, I think you think of him first. And I think he is the greatest wrestler of all time when you encompass everything that is a wrestler. Now, if you want to go just wrestling, obviously, Cena's nowhere near technician, but is better than what people gave him because everyone he wrestled in a championship match always looked great.
So in terms
he could
of
make a shit. He made you think Khali was okay.
Yeah. So in terms of GOAT, you're more from the page of who did more for the company.
Who did more for wrestling?
Well, rest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
The greatest. If you're gonna say the greatest wrestler, who do you think? And I think he does all that. Now, I obviously, in my mind, forever, Shawn Michaels is it. Because of what he does wrestling wise. I mean, he still could take a sweet super kick, as we saw on SmackDown, which I was.
Yeah.
And then that, I mean, and to me, Ziggler might give a better super kick than fucking Shawn Michaels. I mean, Ziggler might give the best one of anybody. Fuck you, Young Bucks. But his always looks like someone died.
Yeah, he gives a real good pop with his, just the way he turns his hip over, the little intricacies of his super kick. He's not just doing it. But I did like the jab at him of calling him the second-rate Shawn Michaels. That was that little moment with the two of them. I didn't realize how badly I wanted to see Michaels and Ziggler go at one another on a mic. But I enjoyed that so much.
I really appreciate what they're doing on SmackDown right now by letting the people that need to talk, not the ones that will say the right message. Obviously, there's still scripts and all that, but they're doing what the people want to hear. On SmackDown more than Raw right now, they are answering all the people on the internet's problems and complaints. Yeah. Everything that they have problems with, Owens is saying. Everything that everyone's always bitched about Ziggler is actually saying, and they're playing against that. The fact that they're yelling about Shane, which, by the way, for all these idiots who finally listen to us, no morons, it's working. Yeah. They had Shane come out to piss you off so much that they could now make Kevin Owens, without any explanation whatsoever, a good guy.
Now
I love it. No explanation. Just one day he's like, I'm for the people. It's like,
now with that angle though, like I know, like we'll go back. We'll go back to Raw because now that we brought this up, I wanted to talk about this with Kevin Owens. Do you think that this is more? Like, because I feel like we're seeing the same exact booking, but different guy. We just saw this whole angle of, like, Roman Reigns getting put up against Shane, which they're still kind of hinting with a little bit. Do you think that, like, Shane is just, like, the go-to factor? Like, if we really need to get someone over quick, just put him up against Shane? Has Shane made himself that hated to where now he's just become, like, that heel? Like, 'cause to me, I feel like we kind of just saw the same angle a little bit with Roman. Am I wrong in that?
Well, Shane McMahon, to me, is playing the role that Jerry the King Lawler played in the late 90s and early 2000s. If you don't have the ability to have a real heel help make a face, Jerry was the guy. Mm-hmm. When you need it, when Bret Hart was not having that person to go against,
my feet. Yeah,
Jerry comes out and because my feet shit on his parents, all that stuff he was doing. That one pay-per-view, I forget the name of it, where he actually came out and did crowd work walking out, where Jerry Lawler had a mic and just went and took shots at people while walking by in Milwaukee. I forget the name of the pay-per-view, but he just goes off and does crowd work on the way out to the ring, pissing off the world. They would do that with Lawler whenever they needed someone to heat on someone, good or bad. Like, if they wanted to make Taz look like more of a bad guy because he wasn't getting anything, put him with Jerry. Jerry will fucking do that either way. Shane McMahon has that ability to get under everyone's skin, and you want to use a McMahon. And you need someone who can get the receipt back if you're going to make someone look good. You can't go Stephanie.
You can't go Vince.
Well, you can't go Triple H because he's a Hall of Famer. You're not going to believe it.
And he's still wrestling.
Well, he's still relevant, but I'm saying, but Shane, even though we all accept that he did death-defying things and all that, we still know he's not a wrestler. So it's like, at the end of the day, Shane can take those losses. It doesn't make sense with Triple H doing that. So I think that the plan wasn't right away to have this where it is. I think they just used Shane's first goal was we got to flip the Miz. Mm-hmm. What do we do to flip the Miz? Let's put a whole story in. That whole time, if you think about how far ago that seems like it was just Royal Rumble time. When they were a tag team together, and the whole thing with the best in the world, which is, you're looking back at that, saying that and allowing Miz to be part of that and making the Miz look like a good guy to help with the TV show, to help with all these things, where now people cheer Miz TV when they used to boo it. It's great. It did work there. Mm-hmm. And I think they saw that and said, let's continue to do that. Who else needs help? Oh, Roman Reigns. We need people to stop booing Roman Reigns. Well, they all hated Miz the right way because he was the ultimate heel. But when he went against Shane, he became likable. If he can do that for the Miz, he can do that for him. So same thing with Owens is like Owens is known as being a heel. He's been the guy who's done all the. How do we make him forget it?
He's not really a heel. That's like that one you were talking about with Adam Cole. Where like, yeah, he's a heel, but everybody loves him. Like Owens doesn't really get like heel heat. He's supposed to be the heel, but he's really more like babyface with that edge.
Right.
Like
but no.
You know what I mean?
But he was a heel. I mean, you can
Oh,
say
he
it
was
in
a
that
heel, but everybody always loved him as a heel.
No,
You know what I mean?
I guess I read a different internet than you. They fucking hated Owens. He was the fat shit. He's not talented. He's not funny. He's not funny. He's all that. Why are they even in this thing? Who does he know? Who's he got naked pictures of? People were not disrespecting everything there. You read it now,
Well, I
and they're
saw it
like,
on Twitter.
"That's what I'm talking." But that's who
always
you're
fucking
playing.
shit on people in Twitter.
That's your audience. That's all. I'm not talking about the people in the back. I'm not a wrestler. You are involved in that stuff. I'm not. I don't know people in the back and thoughts of that. The people that are watching were looking at him and saying, "Not the heel I want." Even though I loved it as a wrestling fan and watching it, people were watching it and saying, shouldn't have a belt, shouldn't be that, whatever. But now they're believing he's the champion of the people. And why? Because he's going against a guy who's yelling out, "I'm better than that," and taking away from wrestlers. And now they've got their voice, who is Kevin Owens. So it was Shane. If it was anyone else doing it against him, I don't think this would have worked.
But they just did it with Roman, and
that.
it worked with him. They needed to get the people to love Roman, so I think we even talked about that. So they put him up against.
No, I'm saying that's literally what I just said.
I know, but my thing is, like, are they going to keep doing this over and over? Does Owens win this and then it's kind of done? Or do we just go to the next guy in line that needs to be made? You know, I just don't want to keep seeing the same thing. Do you think, like, they'll end up – is this just going to be what we'll see moving forward? Like,
all wrestling is the same thing.
Well, I'm talking in terms of, like, using –
No, what I'm saying, but they always –
over. You know, like,
we're seeing it with Drew McIntyre. We're seeing it whenever they get a guy one thing, they kind of just move it to the next thing. They try to make the storylines a little different. The first one with Shane was the betrayal with Miz. The one with Roman was, "You hurt my dad," even though he just fucked over someone else's dad, and it was a hypocritical thing. This one here is, I'm taking away from that. So yes, it's authority versus whatever, but we saw that for fucking years in Attitude Era. It wasn't just Stone Cold versus Vince. Vince did it against everybody. And you would take Vince and put him in the next thing. If you're just doing that same thing and moving other storylines around too.
Yeah,
it's a cookie cutter. That's what you do.
You're right. Yeah, when I actually stop and think back to what his dad.
Take anything like that, you take that, right now with Ricochet, what they're doing is the same kind of thing. You take that young guy you want to put up there, you give him one thing, and then you have everyone taking it away, and he has to have that struggle and climb and fight against the odds type thing. We've seen it a million times. They're just doing it with a new character. Shane right now fits all that. The storylines themselves have different little stories there, but at the end, yeah, Shane takes the beating. He got his wins. That's the thing too. Usually they don't do that with this. He beat the Miz at fucking WrestleMania. He's getting the wins. He took a pin, but he only took it from the fucking Undertaker. Roman didn't fucking pin him. You know what I mean? Like, in that match. So it's they're still letting it be there. I think there might actually be more plans for it. I think Shane's final thing is going to be against possibly Bischoff, not in a match, but with teams or whatever, when he finally comes on as the thing, or maybe against Heyman. Maybe the two of them will get their best guys together against whatever Shane can do for his thing, Drew and Elias and all that, and have a Survivor Series type thing for the rights to running Raw and SmackDown. It could be that.
Yeah, because I was going to say it could build, if they did maybe even just like one more guy after this, that would make a team of 4 who Shane has been battling over the last year, which could lead into a Survivor Series match where you see a team of Roman, Miz, Kevin, and if they do one more guy to, kind of get.
Well, I think you can do 5. I think you can do a team. It doesn't do 4, a team of 5. So with Shane, because one team's is gonna have like those guys who aren't gonna wrestle. Heyman and them aren't gonna wrestle. Mm-hmm. But I think you can have.
They could have
revival. The revival can be the tag team. They're the champions. They've been his boys as well. They can be there as well. And then you can put 1 or 2 other people. You could do the Uso. You could do that because of whatever that. You could make a 5-on-5 work in that group. You know what I mean? And have like a surprise thing. But I think it's going to keep building. So because right now he is the one that's getting the most. He's helping. Drew is getting in those big. They should have got him anyway, but it is helping. Elias, they're keeping the attention on Elias. You're paying attention to these guys. And it's because Shane's coming out being annoying.
Do you think one of them is going to turn on Shane?
No, I don't.
So
I just don't. There's no. If they turn, what are we doing with it?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to do that turn, it's got to have something that's going to be big. And right now, there isn't that window for Drew or Elias or any of them. They're just. Where would they go? You don't need another. We've been making so many faces. There's no need. We need those heels. To me, this is Shane building up new heels. So when he leaves, we've got heels.
Yeah.
It's kind of there saying, here's your best. It's like when Bobby Heenan would have to do that touch to everyone, or more so, Ted DiBiase would turn and go, this is my guy now. And then you're like, oh, fuck you, Adrian Adonis, or fuck you, whatever. You'd be mad at them. Don Morocco, you're a bad guy now because you hang out with Ted. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when Ted would go away, you were like, oh, Don Morocco's a bad guy. You know what I mean?
That's a really great comparison. Shane is kind of like today's $1 million man. Yeah. Money, and he's always freaking all power and shit. I mean, he doesn't have as good a laugh, but
but it's that same kind of thing where he also can get in the ring and get his receipt when he needs to, but usually sends off his people to do his dirty work, and has influence and power to stop things. And you're like, fuck you, you're not playing right, you're doing whatever. That character's always been around. It doesn't always work because they usually try to do it with a Middle Eastern person and always comes off racist. But but when they do it with someone like a white male who has money and comes off like a dick, who also can take a punch, it works.
Oh, my girl hates him so much, and that's why I love watching wrestling with her. She gets so mad at Shane. It's beautiful. It's kind of beautiful. But all right, so that ended up becoming more. So let's rewind and let's get back to Raw Reunion.
Raw Rewind.
Yeah, let's do that right now since we kind of miss it. Because I did you get to watch it live because you just said
yes.
Raw Rewind? I always have to watch the Raw replay. So like I was busy on Monday night, so I had to watch it on Hulu.
I never watched Raw live. Once I heard that Stone Cold and a bunch of other people were going to be on, I wanted to watch live because I knew with the editing I might miss some things.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if they made this a show that was going to help the future or was just a show. Yeah. So I wanted to watch that live to not miss any of the dumb, goofy shit. And I'm kind of on the fence. We'll let you talk about it first, but I'm on the fence on how that show went.
Well, that's the thing is I missed a few things. Like looking back on what people were sharing on social media in comparison to what I saw. Like I missed Rob Van Dam, so I don't know who he wrestled. And
he didn't.
He didn't wrestle. He didn't wrestle. Oh, okay.
No, that was used as they used some things properly. Like Sami Zayn was still establishing that don't respect. These aren't legends. That was the big thing people were doing. Drew did that. Sammy did that. They're not. So when he was in the back saying these aren't legends, and when he went out to go fight Mysterio, who said respect them, and then they had a fight. When they were fighting, all of a sudden Rob Van Dam's music comes on, and then also Sergeant Slaughter's, and then Hurricane, and then Kurt Angle, and the four of them walk down. And there's a great meme that says, "When your mom buys you a bootleg of the Avengers."
Okay, that's way better than the friggin' joke I kept seeing of Rob Van Dam was so high he went to the wrong company for work. I saw like 5 different versions of that same meme, and all 5 of them were going viral. It was driving me nuts. It was like,
if you go to Shane Helms' page, he shared it saying, "This is dirty but fantastic," and he shared because they're walking down. But the 4 of them walk down, and they stand outside of there and kind of get their thing, but they don't wrestle. Same way that when Rikishi, I was like, whoa, Rikishi's not going to wrestle. Or Diva's not going to wrestle. But no, they stood there on the sides. But then they used a lot of it for that thing. We'll get into the other stuff. I hate the fucking 24/7 belt. We've talked about that before. I hate it even more on this show.
This show ruined it for me, man. Like, Jesus Christ.
Because all they're doing is the same. Well, we're doing the same thing as... I heard people saying, well, that's what they do with the hardcore belt. No. That's not what they did.
No.
Because the difference was Crash Holly was really the only person that really did the 24/7. They did do it with a couple other people in the net, but it was basically him. Because once Blackman got it afterwards, they kind of cut that out, and Blackman just fucking fought people. And Blackman, to me, was probably the best, if you watch back at it, the best hardcore champion, because he really went nuts with those matches. Like, dudes would be jumping in the air, and he would just like a baseball bat, but with the fucking can lid, smashed him in the head. He was really it was the best Blackman ever was in his career anyway. But when Crash had that belt, yes, he would run away from the Mean Street Posse, and he'd run away from the Stooges, and then the Acolytes had to protect him. And there was some silly stuff in the vignettes and in the back segments. But Crash also always went to the ring and fought you in the ring. And do a match, and he might get out. They would call him the Houdini of hardcore because he always snuck out with the belt somehow. Right now, we're not getting that. Listen, and what it does to me...
sick of the schoolboy because of this shit.
Well, it's discrediting those wrestlers when they're in the ring. Here's the thing, like that we've seen those wrestlers take real hits, okay? They've been beaten up, whatever, and taken a finisher and kicked out of it. But you can't kick out of a schoolboy when you're at a wedding. You didn't get hit first. You're literally just holding your... why can't you kick out? You're a wrestler, and you're defending this title. You have no will. It's hurting them. They go back in the ring and it's like, well, they can't take a hit. They literally just get rolled up and they lose. It's not doing anything.
So
I
then
like fun segments. Take the fun segments, but then make it happen. Make that happen back there. Make the 24/7 thing where it happens, where he gets pinned like that, but then he chases him back to the ring. A ref comes out, they ring the bell, then make them fight again.
See, I was hoping for one of the big like hard like I mean I know he wasn't the biggest name, but like I was hoping that we would have seen like Hardcore Holly or a Steve Blackman, somebody that had, or even Al Snow, someone that had a good hardcore run, and like maybe have like them winning it for the night and then maybe actually defending it against the other. Like I was hoping for that kind of moment, because when you're bringing up like what it was with hardcore, that's what the 24/7 needs at this point. We've seen all the gimmicky bullshit. We know that it can change at the drop of a hat. We get it. But at this point, someone needs to treat that 24/7 championship like it's the fucking WWE championship and willing to defend it, literally defend it at any given moment.
Well, the reason I knew right away they weren't going to do what you said, because they are trying so hard to separate the word hardcore from that.
Nah,
there's been no shenanigans. There's been no craziness. It's literally just roll-ups. No one's even jumping anyone behind.
You don't need it for that.
No, but I'm saying because of that, you're not going to take any of the hardcore legends and put the belt on them, because I get what you mean. The fans going to sit there and say, okay, well then good, let's do a kendo stick match, do whatever. You're right. I think the way you save that belt is that you have Carl Anderson win it. Okay? Yeah, he wins it, and now he's protected by the OC. So no one can jump in 24/7 anymore like they used to run around. They'll watch that group run, but then all of a sudden you've got Gallows and AJ standing there next to him. Whatever. Or even then put on Luke. Put on somebody that's not AJ, and now he only defends it when he wants to defend it. You could, hell, he could do I don't care if he even did a Stephanie McMahon and just held the belt for a goddamn year and didn't defend it. You just laughed that he always had it. But people, the funny thing would be on the way to the ring in a tag team match, somebody tries to run and jump him, but then the OC beats the crap out of that guy. He keeps the belt, and then he does his tag team match. You want to help do it in a faction type thing. So when they're together, they can hold it that way. It does. And then finally, when you do want someone else to kind of like get a little bit on them, like they used to do with the European title and things like that, have them fight, but then overcome those odds. And then they can defend it in a fun, silly way. And you can do it with the background crazy shit, but you've got to have wrestling too.
Yes, that's a thing. It's like like I said, I was excited when this belt came out. I thought it was going to be something cool. And like over the weeks, it's been entertaining. It's been actually one of their hottest merchandise sellers at their merch stands. But this last week murdered it for me, man. It was way too over the top with how gimmicky it was. Yeah, there were fun moments. Briscoe and Patterson, totally get involving them in it. Oh, no. But I didn't need Kelly as the champion. I didn't need Alundra Blaze doing her cheesy thing, reminding us of that bullshit she did with the title on Nitro. You know, there was things that like just weren't needed, and I thought it completely shit all over this.
See, when I saw that, I got excited because I thought they were going to get rid of the title.
Okay, fair enough.
I really thought they were done with it, and it says not working. And that would have been funny if Alundra got rid of the title that way.
If they did that I would have been okay with. But you know they're not going to, because it's making them too much money.
We all knew at the end of the day it was going to go back on one of the two.
Yeah.
I mean, after all that stuff, it was going to go back on one of them. Now, it would have been. Listen, I would have liked it. If you want to do that, something crazy like that, you don't have to go with the. I understand going with the Stooges and going all that. Put it on someone who still works for the company behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. If you want to put it on an old person like that, let Michael Hayes have it. Let Michael Hayes have it, and then and so once in a while when they show that camera coming through the gorilla and all that, and he's there, a wrestler's walking by, sees Michael Hayes, and then just runs over and fucking goes to hit him or something. You're like, what the hell was that? Like, oh yeah, I forgot he has that belt, and that was he's a guy just working here. Make it a reason why one of those old guys would have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He could have security there with them or something.
Maybe that's what it is that's getting irritating. Is it's like the creativity, like what they have the potential for it to be creative, and what they're doing with it is it's like I don't know. That was just cheesy as shit to me. I get that.
You know who should have it? You know who I just thought. You know who should have it? Shane. Because he's always got everyone around him.
I had to stop and think about this for a second. But I could see it.
Shane has a title now, and he wears it, and he's
there's your OC idea. Every time someone tries to come and beat the shit out of Shane, there's Elias and Drew to shit on him.
And because
Okay.
I'm the best in the world, 24 hours a day, 7
7 days a week.
That's who I am. I'm the best in the world. He has the title. No one can get it from him, whatever. He comes out. He actually sits there but has Elias fight the person, then he pins him. Or he has Drew fight the person and pins him. But he keeps it. And then if you wanted to turn one of them, what's the best way to do it? Have Elias fucking pin him for no reason, piss him off, take the belt off him. He's like, what the hell? He's like, dude, you don't deserve it. Boom, you turn someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they're a face. But that's the you would hate the belt, but the belt would have to be talked about. Because Shane walking in yelling best of the world is one thing. Holding a title would piss you off.
Oh yeah. Even if it is the lowest title on the totem pole, it's just seeing him with the belt would make people lose their minds.
It would be the same way. It'd be the same way when Owen Hart used to walk around with all the Slammies.
The trophies, yes, the trophies.
And put them there, and everything. When he would walk by, and then Bulldog was trying to hold the European title, and then he would sneak in front of him, get in front of the camera, and show the trophies. Shane could do that same kind of thing.
Those are the moments where Owen was so damn good.
And he made you care about something you didn't need to care about. The fucking Slammies.
You didn't care about the Slammies.
No, but you did. You did when he had them.
But yeah. So is there anything else on Raw Reunion before we move on? Because there was one more.
What I liked was they did try to focus on what's going on in the actual storylines. Mm-hmm. They did try to give you some. Yeah, okay. Now, some people will be like, well, why would you let the fucking DX? OC should have got over on that one. No. It happened Revival last year too. In that moment, you still do that moment. You do that. Now, did I think it was weird that it was Seth in all of them? Because
they don't have Billy.
well, Billy can't be.
They needed another guy. They can't take Billy. You know, it was like Devon was by himself. Bubba wasn't going to go against his ROH contract. Apparently, Impact doesn't give a shit. But you know, both the other two guys weren't going to show up.
No, I don't think it was anything to do with that. I think it really was that they're trying everything they can to make sure everyone realizes that Seth's the guy. Mm-hmm. And in Triple H's mind, DX is the most, notorious, greatest faction, whatever. So if we say we're down, but it doesn't make any sense. Why would they be siding with Seth? Because I know Triple H sometimes comes out as a good guy, but they've had one of the biggest rivalries in Seth Rollins' career is Triple H. I understand they've kind of let it go, but that's a weird. I would have used that for someone else. I would have literally. You already had the lineups. I would have had them come out with Ricochet. Ricochet fighting AJ. I know you wanted to have Seth because you're trying to. You know you have more eyes on the show, so you're trying to get everyone to see your top guy who's going to fight Brock Lesnar. But if you have Ricochet come out and he's against the odds again, and for one night only, DX comes out in the NWO, the Clique is there and saying this is the guy. All of a sudden, you've elevated another guy. We already know Seth is your guy. Yeah. We already know he's there.
And Rick's already feuding with the OC, so it keeps the storyline going at the same time.
It would have been perfect.
But that's. I will admit, I did kind of cock my head at first when they with Seth in there. I don't think anybody batted an eye at it because as soon as they heard they were getting AJ versus Seth, they were like, "Oh, okay, I'll watch that." I don't think it dawned on them what it was gonna be, like the moment it was. But Seth doesn't really need a rub at this point, does he? I mean, Christ's sake, he's already a former champion of every title they have. He's the main event at SummerSlam against Lesnar. I'm pretty sure people should know at this point that he's their guy.
If you are a watcher of the show. But a reunion show is getting new eyes. A reunion show, oh, wow, Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold. A lot more people watch because they're going to be on. So in that moment, you're trying to show this is the guy now, and they might not know that. I put a thing on Facebook this morning saying, hey, are you a fan of wrestling? If not, when's the last time you watched? And most people on my Facebook have not watched since Attitude, maybe early Cena. A lot of people, regular fans, know what's going on, but don't watch it all the time. They don't know who all these people are. They definitely don't know who Seth Rollins is. They might have heard of the Shield if they've ever discussed wrestling with someone quickly, but they don't know who he is. So now, how do you do that? They don't even really know who AJ is. I mean, if you think about that, as wrestling fans, we're like, how do you not know these people? They're not household names because they don't do anything outside of wrestling. But Triple H is known. DX is known. Suck It is known. So that's why they have to keep doing it more and those things. They go, okay, we'll do that. We'll show you our most famous guys next to another guy. They used to do that with Hogan when he would come back, whatever. Now they're like, and that segment was weird for me too. The Hogan Ric Flair segment was weird because don't let Rick look weak. I'm sorry, but don't ever let Rick look weak. And he did look weak. And I know he's old. I know he's been through whatever, but he's Rick fucking Flair. Yeah. And I didn't like how that was there. They could have done that better. And it was cool at the end, Stone Cold's thing. I know people were bitching he didn't give out stunners. You're retarded. He's not going to give out stunners. He's not going to do anything. No, but we're not building a storyline for Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was supposed to be about the fun stuff. Stone Cold was there to promote his beer.
For me, that was the moment of the night, not because it was Stone Cold, because of the things that Stone Cold said. I didn't realize how much I loved this business until I heard Stone Cold speak. As he was talking about brothers and sisters and being on the road and the bonds that are created, I immediately just started thinking about all my people at Monster Factory. And I won't get not philosophical, but I won't get all gushy over it. But regardless, when Stone Cold was speaking, it was a beautiful moment, especially if you're not just involved in the business, but if you're like a big fan, if this is something that you genuinely love, like Pat and I do, or if you're somebody like that, that it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. I don't think I've ever seen that sentimental side of Stone Cold on camera before. So it was just absolutely beautiful. And I can't wait for August 3rd now, because that's the next show at the Monster Factory. I miss my people. Living 6-7 hours away from a company I enjoy working for can suck. But it does make the show days that much better, because it really is. There's a camaraderie and a bond with the people behind the curtain that everyone thinks they know, you don't know. And it might even be thicker of a bond than your own family, and which sounds ridiculous, because family is one of the most important things in the world. I don't know how you feel about that, Pat. I know you love your kids, and I know how you are with family, but it really is. There's such a strong bond behind that curtain. And that, to me, if they could end every single Raw like that, just send Stone Cold out to send the fans home happy, I'll take that every damn week, because it was so well said. And it made me realize, I'm like, God damn, I really do love this business.
To me, that was the second best thing said, because the best thing said of the entire night was when John Cena took a shot at the Usos for getting arrested. I loved it. You saw their face. You saw their face.
Yeah.
And they were funny with it, because then they shouted out the police, the county that did that. But I don't think they knew. I think that was a Cena.
No, that was.
I'm gonna say something. They knew he was gonna say something, because they didn't get their comeback, but they didn't get to say anything back, because even Rikishi's thing wasn't really a shot back.
No. That, because you can't come back from that. That was literally like the end. Like, that was the trump card. You can't.
You definitely can come back. They could have said something about Nikki Bella. I'm sure they were told not to.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Not a shadow of a doubt, because they're quick. They could have done it, but I'm sure they were told, no, let John do the thing, whatever. Because it wasn't about making the Usos look bad. They were supposed to be the good guy. That was a weird spot, because he's taking a shot at them, but they're still the faces in this thing they're about to fight in. So it was odd.
Well, one of them, I think it was Jimmy, got arrested again while they were down in Florida, so they'll get a title run at the next pay-per-view.
First of all, there's no way they're not. I know the Revival's doing well, but they're beating the Revival. I mean, that's just going to happen. I like the Revival, but the Usos are going to have that title on them.
Is this going to be their 10th run, or is this just 9? I know they're trying to build them up to 10-time champions. They want to oversee.
No, I want to say they're only 7 now. They just keep saying 10. I think they're only 7 now, but not say only. They're 7, I believe. But I like everything they did with that. I like that Booker came out and announced it, because Booker, trained them, and the fact that he was there, that was great. Rikishi being there, there's a lot of Samoan ties. You know what? Before we get any farther, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah,
I liked Samoa Joe's promo, doing all that, going against them. Roman Reigns, once again, you put him in situations where they can't boo him. He's defending his family. People love the family, and that's great there. I thought it was odd that Samoa Joe beat him up before it was a match, just so they can have a match, and then kind of do the same thing they just did. It was literally 4 minutes of the same Joe doing the same moves until Roman made a comeback, which he did at the beginning part. You kind of just almost like, if you just didn't know you were around it, you thought you'd watch the same thing twice, once as a match and once before that. So I thought they should have got a little more creative with it, but it was just another way to say Joe's still a dick and Roman's the guy you cheer for. That's kind of what they were kind of just like introducing new people to things while trying to keep the storyline going for people that watch all the time. That's what it seemed like the whole show was.
Well, Joe to me is that heel. Like you were talking about how like you can, put Shane with anybody. I feel like that like he's their heel that they should focus on more. Because I think you can put Joe in literally any situation as long as he's the heel and he's going to do an awesome job.
Right, but the problem is that you always need that belief that the heel can win, and you don't have that with Joe right now. They don't ever let him win.
See, they don't let him, but I still always believe he could because of his style, the way they.
No one believes he's going to win the title when he's fighting for a title. No one does. You can say you want. I watch it. I want it. I don't ever believe it. If he did, I'd go lose my mind. But when Shane McMahon's in a match, even at WrestleMania, I was like, Miz definitely should win this. Watch fucking Shane win this. And you always know they're going to do that. That's the difference. Okay. They'll let Shane go that next level, but when it comes to Joe, for some reason he's one of those guys that Miz was that way forever as the heel.
Ceiling. There's that
thing where we're going to let you go up here. Orton's kind of being that right now too. Like, when we need someone to be looking good in the title picture, which we're going to see again, they do the same kind of thing where they're not letting them win it.
Let's get into that because that was one of those where I cocked my head. Not because it's Orton. Orton is Orton. He'll always be good, just like you just said. But for me, don't you feel like they kind of missed an opportunity to get Ali back into the mix?
No, you can't do it now.
You don't think so?
It's gonna happen. No, not now. You're having your run of Kofi. You're building his legacy as this one-time champ. What he's gonna be. It's gonna be one time. It's gonna be for a while. You give him the people that he can beat and you look back and go, wow, that's a fucking nice list of people he beat.
Gotcha.
And you got to keep doing that. Ali has to beat. Ali's going to be a face, even though they're doing the weird whatever it is.
That boy
defender of the people. No, he can't.
I like his vignettes, man.
So do I, but sometimes they don't always. I don't know how they're going to translate in the ring yet because when you go too much defender of the world and honor, if you don't turn it into a heel at one point, it becomes hokey. Once they're wrestling, it's great for vignettes. But we've all seen them do that many times. Someone going defending the streets, whatever, and then they get in the ring, and you're like, oh, it's still just young Rikishi. But like I think right now, Kofi needs. If you're gonna complete this whole thing, Kofi needs to avenge the Randy Orton thing. And they're going to really start bringing that up. Stupid. That's all going to get brought up. They're definitely going to do all that stuff there. How, and I think Randy will flat out say, like, yeah, I stopped your run. You didn't deserve it. You don't deserve it now. Mm-hmm. And I stopped you then, and I had that power. And if I can stop it now, I would. But now I'm going to stop by taking your goddamn title. Kofi Kingston is going to win that. Randy Orton's not going to get the title. And then I think if you have Brock cashed in, I can see Kofi holding it for a while. I don't think till WrestleMania, but I can see it till at least Royal Rumble. Yeah. I can see going into SmackDown's roster is so strong and has so many personalities that you can have your champion not be the top guy. Going into the TV show, I think that helps even more because you don't focus all on one because the New Day is a big star. And all of them together with belts and even without belts, they're such big stars together that you can make that your champion and be okay, and also have Roman not there. Eventually, Roman Reigns will be holding that title. That's what we're building towards. That's where we're going. Do I think Ali deserves opportunities? Yes, I do believe it, but I think he it sucks with injuries. He kind of missed the boat. And I don't know where you put him in because there's a lot of people along that same line. Andrade is the future. I'm not just saying that for any reason. He's a guy too. Aleister Black now is there's a lot of attention.
Yeah. They got a lot of stock on him.
Kevin Owens you're building him for a reason, not just for this. You're building a lot of different things here. The Drew McIntyre's running around there. I mean, he's everywhere. But like, there's so many things that Ali now kind of falls down because they've got guys that can do it. You know what I mean? And do that same kind of thing.
I just feel like there's a good story there. So he should, maybe not to win it, but I do feel like he should be put into Kofi's title run at some point just because, if Ali didn't get hurt, do we even get this Kofi run? Does this ever even happen? I feel like there's a pretty good story.
Is it a story that everyone cares about or just really hardcore wrestling fans? Because not everyone knows that was his spot or whatever. Not everyone knows it wasn't announced he was going to be the guy. We just all saw the writing on the wall while they were building this because all these guys were around it, and then he got thrown in. No one knows it was going to be how it was going to be that way. And Daniel Bryan was, a big part in making sure that Kofi looked like a star and could have done that. I think that was kind of the build to do it with Ali. But it was at the end of the day, you just kind of when you step back and watch it, you go, oh, it's the machine at work. and anyone could have done it. So was it really Ali that I was going to care about, or was I going to care about this story? They're going to do one way with Ali, and now they're doing it with Kofi, and it worked even better to me because everyone knowing Kofi's story.
Totally.
Way more than Ali's story. You have to force that on a little more. And therefore, I don't know if people would really care. And you can't have them fight each other because you're going to do Ali as a heel.
I think that's what they're gonna do.
But then I don't care about. But then I don't care about the story because the story also is about this guy who's been fighting against the odds forever and saying look at things differently in life. Mm-hmm. To me, he's got that after school special fucking thing going on where you want to cheer for like the good guy. And I think WWE's trying to say we're tired of also presenting you the Middle Eastern who's a bad guy. I really do.
He's also a former cop, so you could play the corrupt cop kind of angle of like that. You know what I mean? Which is come on, that's a hot button thing. That'll
not when he's Middle Eastern, dude. Not when he's Middle Eastern.
Again, look, I'll just say
a former Middle Eastern cop. No, you can be a big boss man. You can be a white piece of shit from the South. That's fine. No, Vince. No, you can't.
Really, it's Vince. You don't think that they would actually pull that trigger to have a corrupt cop go against the black champion? Come on.
Bischoff will go back to Colorado. He'll turn around and go, no, thank you.
That's something I could see WWE doing. To really be a hot button thing, just push that society button. I could totally see them doing that.
But it wouldn't work because cops have no power in WWE. Every time they come in, they get punched in the face.
Everyone has power.
Every cop. No, they don't. Every time a cop or security guard shows up, wrestlers are allowed to punch them and run away and not
exactly. And Ali can speak for all those security. Have them line up around the ring.
To me, Ali has to be pushed as a face.
The voice of authority.
If you want to do anything with Ali, you'd have Orton win so Ali could fight Orton. Orton ain't winning. Kofi's gonna hold this thing for a while. Orton's just there for
winning either. I mean, because where is Orton in terms of championships? He's a 10-time, right?
No, he's more than that. He's
more.
Yeah, it's basically it goes Flair, Cena, Triple H, Orton, and they're right. I want to say he's like 12 or 11. Like he's over that. They're not gonna give it. They're not letting him touch it, so he's not going to get it again. He got that one because they wanted to use him to put Bray, and it worked that way to do that. Yeah. But the only time they'll give him the belt is so he can hand it to someone else, and that's all he'll be doing with it. When Cena wins it again, which he will because he's going to have to break that record, he will do it to give to someone else. He won't be holding it for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. So eventually, I could see SmackDown doing that when they go on TV. Cena fucking gets a win, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" But just to put it. They may have him fight maybe Roman again. Have Roman beat him, two good guys like that, and you're like, wow, he beat him. They hold hands together, and there's your guy.
Do you think that would finally be Cena's heel turn? He comes back to end Kofi's reign and ends up being like the 17-time champion now.
He'll never be. He's not going to heel turn.
He'll ever do it?
Well, there's no point because he's not invested enough for that to happen.
I feel like that's the one thing he hasn't done. That's the one thing from John we've never seen. What better time to do it than completely shitting all over this monumental championship run that Kofi has had?
I just think because that when you've got the guy who comes back thing was what The Rock did, came back as a dick, and from Hollywood, it's just been done. I mean, I understand they like to copy storylines, but I think Cena would say to them, I'm already getting I'm the poor man's Rock because I want to go do TV and movies. I can't do the same story.
I can't do the same thing. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll come back and do what you want. I think if he came back, they would do the face versus face, and it would be that thing where it would be if Roman's going to beat a guy again, whatever, have him fight Cena again. They always did well together anyway. Have them fight. Roman wins it, but it's this thing like, passing the torch again now after everything that happened, you could do that. But I think right now, I think Kofi's going to hold it for a little bit because they've got enough people that he can fight well. But because if he beats Orton and you want to have him hold it, with beating Owens, with beating Joe, with beating Ziggler, with beating Daniel Bryan, you can now let him fight younger guys. He now could help make someone look good by still beating them. But right at the beginning, he couldn't do that right. He couldn't just fight a younger guy right away without, I'd love to watch him versus Buddy Murphy. I don't think they're putting in the story. I'm just saying, Apollo Crews. There are guys I would love to watch athletically go with Kofi Kingston, which would be great. But if they did at the beginning, you're like, oh, they're just burying this young talent. But if those guys got ability and you say, oh, wow, Kofi has made a run. He's beat these guys that are all champions. Mm-hmm. In some way or the other. Joe is the only one that hasn't held the title, but he's beaten all these world champions plus a U.S. champion. He's run through all these guys that have these legacies and backgrounds. Now he could fight a guy, and even if he fought Andrade and they had like, you know, a 2-month thing going on it, even if Andrade doesn't end up coming out with the belt, you're like, wow, he went toe to toe with the guy who beat all these guys. That Kofi is a champion now. He's not the guy who didn't have it now, the charity case. He's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you can start doing that with him. But I think if he did it against Ali, because you're almost forcing it in. I think you wait another year, and when you need that story to WrestleMania again, maybe not this year, maybe the year after, you still got Ali there. And you can build it wonderfully that right way, so that person chasing after everything and against all odds, Ali could be that. But I think you can't do it right now because you just did it with Kofi.
Okay, fair enough. Great breakdown. Thank you. That was awesome. Great, incredible insight on that question there, Pat. You killed it.
I need other things to think about. I really do.
All right, now was there anything else on SmackDown? All right, we gotta bring it up. Bray Wyatt is God. The Fiend is.
Yeah.
I'm loving every aspect of it. Do you think is he gonna keep the mask on when he wrestles, or are we just doing it now to establish the character of quote unquote the Fiend?
I couldn't really tell if it's a mask that he could wrestle with. I think he can. It seems like he can
fixated on there.
Right, but I mean the peripheral, I don't know. I mean, like,
yeah.
You're gonna be fighting against Finn Balor, who moves around like crazy. You know what I mean? It's not like you're fighting a big giant where you can just do whatever. If he's fighting the Big Show, okay, then he can just wear a mask. I'm not sure. I think the mask might be now. Obviously,
see, I didn't even think of that. If there's a blind spot on that mask, that could really go bad. I didn't even think of that.
But I like everything they're doing. I like how they've changed the way he comes to the ring, way different than the old Bray, the different kind of music, thing like that. Obviously, letting him do something to Mick Foley, just once again speaks about how Mick Foley is probably the most dedicated person to wrestling in the history of wrestling.
He gave him his mandible claw, and that fits that character so well. I really think that looks so damn good on that character. Not that the Abigail, Sister Abigail's kiss, or the Kiss Abigail, whatever the fuck it is. Not that isn't a cool move, but I think the mandible claw, I popped for that hard. Not just because it was the mandible claw on Foley, but because it fit the character and it looks awesome. It's like when you see, Stone Cold giving his stamp of approval for Kevin to use the stunner. Now we're seeing with the Mick Foley, that's fucking awesome.
Right. And I think that this will be something that it won't matter if he has the mask on when they do it the right way they're doing it, because he's not wearing the mask when he's doing the Fun Time House or whatever, that thing there. And then he's wearing it when he comes to the ring. Now, if he could wear it in some way, now I hope under the mask maybe is some paint or something. You could do a paint job that can be decent. Wear the mask and then wear whatever. He got to look a little different. Dude's in shape. Dude is in shape.
Seriously.
When he stands in the ring, he doesn't need. I know he could kind of tell when he's doing the vignettes, but when he's in the ring, it doesn't even look like him. His body, and he's going to be ready to really go. I hope they do this right, because they are finally doing what they're supposed to do. The replacement for Undertaker as the evil thing.
Yep.
And we need that. You need that. But I hope with this character, they've got to do some kind of title thing. He's got it. Bray always needed that.
24/7.
Oh God! I thought they were for a minute. I thought it was happening because Mick Foley was the one who introduced it, and then Mick Foley being there, I figured like somehow Mick would make a joke and pin someone, and then like when they started showing all that, I thought maybe on that night all of a sudden Bray would hold it, and then who's gonna go fuck with him when he's holding it?
Yeah, yeah.
He would give it to he would give it to the puppet, the pig puppet. And go, you're the champion now.
They're building for a fun moment at SummerSlam, though. The Demon versus the Fiend. Hopefully that's what we get. I don't want to see Finn versus the Fiend. Give us the Demon one more time and then put Bray over so that way Finn can finally have his hiatus that he's been asking for behind the scenes. Because then you let Finn go away for a while and he comes back to the club. That's how you. That's
okay. See, I think they're gonna separate Finn from the club. I don't know. I know he likes to do a little. We all have the phone that's too sweet, but I thought what was gonna happen is he would come out as Finn. He will lose and then take his hiatus. So when he comes back as the Demon to avenge what happened while he was gone. Because remember, even though we all know what's happening, no one in storyline, he's not asking for a hiatus. In storyline, it's going to be an injury that Bray Wyatt gives him, so Bray looks more over. So therefore, when he does come back, if they do it right, if it's not too long of a hiatus, he can come back as all of a sudden one day when Bray's out there terrorizing, doing whatever, you could have the Demon thing come up on a couple weeks in a row, like a quick flash on the Titantron, the lights going out. Now someone's fucking with him, and it's the Demon. I can see that comeback putting him way up the top there again.
I mean, I'd take either storyline. That's a really fun angle.
They're not going to put it. But Bray is right now is he on SmackDown or Raw?
I feel like he's going to end up being like a wild card kind of thing, like the Fiend does what he wants type deal. You never know where he's going to pop up.
Because if he's on SmackDown, then him versus Kofi is a thing where Kofi can lose the belt and it's okay because Kofi is built. Mm-hmm. If he's on Raw, he's not getting the belt.
Mm-hmm.
There's just nowhere for him to. Brock Lesnar's not going to let him beat him. Mm-hmm. They've tried in the past trying to fight each other, and Brock even said he didn't like fighting them.
The Beast versus the Fiend. You don't think there's something there?
I think Brock would just say, "Fuck off, I'm not doing it."
Yeah, fair enough.
No, sir. Brock said in the past he didn't like fighting him, didn't like fighting Dean. There's certain guys he didn't like fighting.
Yeah.
Seth obviously is the company man and do whatever. Mm-hmm. You could have them fight each other, but is Seth going to lose the title to him after getting the rub, beating Brock? That's what this whole thing is, as far as I know. I mean, maybe they are going to keep it on Brock, but I don't see why. I would think you're doing this so Seth can beat him again, but not punch him in the nuts this time. But who knows? But if that's the case and he gets it, you'd have to do a little bit of a build. You'd have to wait at least till Royal Rumble for the Fiend.
Oh yeah, no, Fiend can't come back right into it. Like, I think that would.
No, but I'm saying, so but if you get to that point, are you doing it just so? Because you think WrestleMania, they really would have to build this character so he can have the title at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Because usually your Raw champion is the one big thing at the end, not your. Because if you're gonna have SmackDown, is it gonna be Rome? You gotta have one of them be a bigger name, and I don't know if the Fiend's gonna be at that point. He might be, or whoever's gonna fight him for the belt would be doing it to beat him to launch them into the next thing. You know, it's going to be weird what they do with him. I don't like, if he's on Raw, I don't like him on Raw. That roster isn't built for him. The SmackDown roster is built for him more. There's more people for him to beat. There's more athletic people. There's a lot of great, like they did with Kofi, you can get a lot of good wins, build the Fiend so you forget about Bray being a doormat at the end of what he was doing before as Bray. And get those big wins and then start fighting for titles. Who's he gonna? I mean, there's so many people on Raw that have all these egos that you know what I mean. They get pushed. If he's just gonna fight Sami Zayn and they're gonna bury Sami again, then who cares? He's got to beat real people. So Finn Balor. I love the matchup. I think it's great doing all that stuff. But Finn Balor isn't. When you watch it, he doesn't win a lot. Even when he had the Intercontinental title, you're like, it was a weird run.
Yeah, it was flat. It was flat. So that's why when I figured like that's all right. So it's flat to start. I honestly thought it was going to be a long run, and then when they gave it to Shinsuke, now what do you think about Shinsuke with the title? Do you think this one will be a legitimate run? Do you think it's just going to be kind of like a transitional thing, and they don't know what they want to do with the Intercontinental title? Because that's kind of how it feels. The last few champions haven't got me vested into what has always been my personal favorite championship.
I think I said it on here last week, but I still feel that the best move is to have him be transitional and have Aleister Black beat him. Aleister Black needs to beat him. Put the title on Aleister Black, and then let him run with it for a while. But it would be a perfect person. You're not gonna have Aleister fight Finn. They knew Finn wanted to take it off. I think they took the belt off Finn because I want some time off. Okay, good. Do us this one solid. Help us put Bray over. Take some time off. You've been a company guy. Thank you. Whatever. Then we'll figure out the shit when you get back. Let's put the belt on someone. Who we put it on? All right, well, we like Aleister. We like this character. We want to do something with him. But we don't want him to beat Finn. That's not going to be the thing we're doing yet. We want to have another match or two. Let's have him fight Cesaro. Let's establish him a little bit now here. Who would he fight well against? Oh, he'd fight tremendously against Shinsuke because they strike well, and it will make him look great. And then he can get that belt, and then that way Shinsuke can fight him, as a rematch, and you can watch them fight for a couple of months, and it can really establish them. And Shinsuke's not a guy they're looking at. They've already proven that. He's not the guy they're looking at as to carry a company. He's there to work, and that's who he's there to be. And he would do a great job doing that. But I think Aleister could hold that tag belt for a while, and then you could see the match that people love, him against Andrade. There are some great matchups there with that Intercontinental title on SmackDown that he could fight someone. He could fight Kevin Owens and you'd watch that shit all day. He could fight Samoa Joe and you'd watch that shit all day. There are a lot of great matchups with Aleister Black with the belt fighting these other guys.
All right, yeah, I'm sorry. I completely forgot that you brought that up last week. But yeah, okay. So I don't know. I'm kind of tapped. Did you want to touch base on anything that's going on in NXT from this past week? I don't really like they added stipulations now for the Gargano-Cole match.
It's gonna be great no matter what.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think that I don't know what the fuck is going on with Street Profits, but I fucking hate it. But obviously they're forcing it down your throat that they're at Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Forcing it down your throat, which I think is weird because, like, who they're fighting at NXT, now it's going to be Undisputed Era. You don't need to, like, have an excuse why they're losing. Like, they should lose to Undisputed Era.
Totally.
Without a doubt. I think it's time to make sure at least most of those people have the... Okay, what do you think's happening with Adam Cole? Do you think he's going to retain? I do.
Yes. I
don't think Gargano's winning.
Because if you put it back on Gargano, then we got to do it again. I mean, not that I'm opposed to watching Gargano Cole. I'll watch them wrestle every damn day. It's more just how often do you keep going back and forth and back and forth. One of them has to come out on top. Clearly, I believe that Cole is your guy moving forward.
Well, see, you say that, but they've proven with Gargano, and it works with him. You can just do the same match over and over because he can always help invent new things. Well, if I'm going to watch two people fight, it can be I just think that at one point there's either Undisputed Era is going to go up or they're going to break them up so one of them goes up. I hope not. I like it there. Or they're going to break them up.
Well, Ciampa's due to come back, so that's why I feel like you keep Cole, the title on him. Gargano, it feels like he's lost, and now his greatest rival comes back, and they can finally finish writing that story. Or just come back and, let's team up with DIY again. Or, fuck it, just move them to the main roster.
Right. I do think that those guys as a tag, that the only way they're going to the main roster is as a tag team.
Really?
It's just because, as much as I think they're incredible, they'll get Sami Zayn or any Bobby Roode, whatever it is. Because of their size, and Gargano's amazing, that they're gonna listen. Ciampa is one of my favorite wrestlers ever. But he looks. But if you stare at him and you don't know who he is, you go, "What was that, like a miniature Triple H?" The look. People are gonna look at his look with the beard and the bald head and the way he looks, and but smaller, and go, "Oh, it's like tiny Triple H." And
he's pretty jacked. Like, his body
pretty
is
jacked.
incredible.
He's jacked, but he's not what WWE usually. He's not. When he stands as a Drew McIntyre, he looks like a midget. Okay, what I'm saying is.
But he's just the same size, if not a little bit bigger than Ricochet.
But he's not. But the Ricochet is a rare thing because he's a video game human being. That's why he's getting these opportunities. Okay. If he could flip around and do this shit, he was just a wrestler, he would not have this opportunity. It's not about Ricochet. The fact that people want to watch it, it's so much better Evan Bourne, and they were in love with Evan Bourne. Mm-hmm. That's what Ricochet is. I saw someone even tweet that saying they were hoping for the reunion, Evan Bourne would show up and they would fight. And I'm like, yeah, that would be fucking amazing. No, but I would watch that match just to watch the two of them. But that Ricochet's trying to get away from that. If you're gonna do that, you say, hey Seth, apologize to Ospreay and let's throw him a couple bucks and watch him fight. Yeah. But I do think that with Ciampa and others, I think they come as a tag team and it can work because they could have a great run battling Revival, and all these tag teams are built for those two guys to fight. They can fight each other, but if you just win singles, you got two guys right there going singles. What are you doing with them? You're not launching into the title picture with everything that's going on there. The Intercontinental, and we're just talking about it now. They're using it both U.S. Intercontinental as a transitional thing, back and forth, whatever. Are they going to relive that rivalry again? You thought they were going to do that with Sami and Kevin. They tried to do it because they're a great rivalry that everyone loved. But when it came to the main roster, people kind of went, I think if they tried to make them fight each other again, the main roster, I don't think the reaction would be the same as the love it got for so long down there. I think their best bet is to be down there and do that. I think the only person who's smaller down there right now that can come up is Cole. But Cole can do that because of his personality, which is so much stronger than Gargano and Ciampa's. It is. Ciampa's fantastic as a heel and all that, but Cole's is at a different fucking level. And I think he's the only guy, but he'll still need goons if it's not going to be Undisputed. He's going to need goons because they're going to still, at the end of the day, think small guy needs those people.
So you think that going into NXT Toronto, if we end up seeing Undisputed Era lose all matches, you think we see them the next night?
Well, I don't know, because it looks like the way WWE keeps doing this, if you have the tag team championships, you get called up.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with War Raiders. They had the belts, and then they called them up, and they had to get rid of the belts. Street Profits are hanging out with the belts. It looks like they're going to get called up. Maybe you put the belts on Undisputed Era just to call them up. I don't understand why the champions keep getting called up. Take the belts off them.
I think it's more I think Vince likes their personalities. In his mind, they're entertaining. And it's also just seeing NXT championships on mainstay television. Because I don't think because they can't do the same gimmick of what you just said. If you have the tag titles, you get called up. Like they gotta drop them. Like do the right thing.
Well, not that. Make them fight on fucking Raw.
Mm-hmm. So do something to make it legitimate.
I'm not respecting the NXT title. They look like goofballs holding it. They're saying stupid shit in the back. They're not funny. They're annoying. It's a dumb segment. Yeah. Every time they're on, it's disrespectful to most things. But they're not supposed to be heels. They're supposed to be fun party guys, but they're acting like pieces of shit. Now, if you're gonna turn them into heels off this, okay, I get it. But make them come out with the belts and fight someone, not for the belts, but holding the belts. Let them fight somebody. Well, let them fight fucking Hawkins and Ryder. You let Hawkins and Ryder get fucking squashed, and they were your champions at WrestleMania. And they got their fucking ass kicked.
No, that's actually a lot of fun because it would make it worthwhile. There'd be a reason for them to have the tag championships on television. But that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like if Cole loses to Gargano, if we see Roderick lose in the triple threat with Velveteen and Pete Dunne, and if we see Fish and O'Reilly just make Street Profits look strong, I think Undisputed Era is coming up after SummerSlam.
Possibly. I just don't know. But we all just watch NXT and think call-ups. You don't think what are we doing with not in summer, not in the middle of the summer?
Well, there's always something that happens after SummerSlam. Somebody usually gets something.
Not usually.
No,
it's not usually. It's you get some for the Rumble because that's usually exciting. You're waiting for some Rumble people to come out, and then after the night after Mania is when they show up. That's usually when they come. The summertime, when they build storylines, that summertime after that, they know they're dead for a little while. After SummerSlam, they kind of die out, and no one really cares about the pay-per-views until we build to Survivor Series again. To put in new people, you're not going to get the eyes on it, and you have so many fucking people on your roster right now. If you're going to do Undisputed Era and bring them up and want to make a big deal about it, you would do it in October when on Fox, because they like putting Adam Cole against his friends anyway. So you put him on October 2nd that week, and you do it when they come out then. But right now, I see the NXT all them dripping in gold. I think Adam Cole's prophecy is going to come true because that would be the one perfect thing. They win all the gold. Or if you wanted to break them up, Cole loses. They all win. And now they're like, you were giving us the crap, but now you're the one without a title. And we're the ones with titles, the type thing, whatever. And you could do that if you wanted to, but I think you're going to see all of them dripping in gold. I think if you were going to bring up anyone after SummerSlam or at SummerSlam, the only person that you'd bring up where everyone would go, holy shit, is Velveteen. That's the only person where you would go, oh, wow, what is this? What is this character? But I still think you'd be wasting it if you didn't do it Royal Rumble. If you didn't wait until that music coming on and him coming out and the grand entrance and all that, and he could get thrown out right away. It wouldn't even matter because you just be like, what is this? I can't wait to see what he's going to do on Raw. What's he going to do on Raw?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I can see that happening. Right now after SummerSlam, you've got so much going on and so many crazy storylines, so many things, and so little TV time. They're making a whole storyline about it, but Shane's taking everyone's TV time. Those guys would all come up and get wasted.
So you think they've learned from their past mistakes of calling up guys from NXT almost too quick and they just get lost?
That, and I think they realize that NXT is their greatest battle against AEW. They don't look at that as it's not SmackDown and Raw against AEW because the people that like AEW like NXT. So you want to keep those things the same, and you got to keep that group. People that love the Elite love Adam Cole. Every time Adam Cole posts anything, what does everyone say that loves the Elite? I thought you were dead. It's always the same thing. You know what I mean? They remember that. They love that. You know what I mean? That's how it's going to go. I mean, I've read rumors that AJ is going to go down with the OC and invade NXT. I'm sure it's a crazy rumor, but they're even trying to do that and trying to build the OC more. Have them go beat up someone. Have the OC fight Undisputed Era afterwards. That'd be insanity. But I don't think they would do that, but it would draw more eyes to that pay-per-view because I'm guessing when they tested it once, NXT's pay-per-views won't always be piggybacking. I think NXT's pay-per-views will be going against AEW's pay-per-views.
Oh, totally. That's going to be a fun weekend. So, all right, so we'll end with this hypothetical.
Or Evolve 102.
So if you were given the opportunity, which product do you watch when they go head to head? Do you order AEW? Do you watch NXT? You don't have the network. You used to. Yeah, fair enough. Now I know it was a dumb question, but I wanted to ask.
Are you saying, okay, I guess in perfect world, are you saying that I have the same knowledge I have of wrestling, but just for some reason don't have the network? Or am I someone that wants to watch wrestling but hasn't watched it in a while and I make a choice?
No,
because if I'm someone who's look, if I'm someone who hasn't watched wrestling in a while and I have to make a choice and someone says, we're going to watch one of these two things, what do you want to watch? And I go, oh, I don't even know who's wrestling there. You can't sell me on NXT because I don't know who those people are. But all you have to say is Chris Jericho, and I'll probably check it out. So AEW does have that. When you see the new thing they put up for TNT saying October 2nd, the announcement, Jericho is the biggest picture, dead center middle. Yeah. Moxley is smaller off to the side. The Young Bucks are smaller. Cody's smaller. The biggest picture they have is of Chris fucking Jericho, and he's a bigger, more household name star than anyone on NXT's roster. Now, and if you tried to explain it to somebody who didn't really know wrestling, had to watch one, they go, at least I'll go with the guy I know. And then they can go, you know who else is on there? Goldust and his brother. You wouldn't think you say it that way, but you would say that to someone who kind of, I've heard of that guy. Yeah. Okay, they don't know the names, but you're going to do that. Now, so I would watch NXT because I know storylines. I enjoy the story they told me. AEW hasn't told me any fucking stories besides a couple of videos I don't feel like watching on YouTube. Now, once they start TV shows, maybe I'll get into their storylines and enjoy the way they write and do things. And I will make maybe by January, I'm saying, you know what? I was wrong. I like the way they tell stories. Now I'm enjoying this. But right now, if I had to watch one or the other, I would choose NXT because I follow their stories. I'm happy with who they're putting out there. I like how they build people. I like how a guy can show up out of nowhere, and within a month and a half, I care. And they do that every time. They build people properly.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I know it's kind of like an out of the left field question. I always just like to test you when it comes to AEW.
No, listen, I've watched everything they've had. Anything, even if it wasn't always live, it's been free and I've watched it. Yeah. I do like some of the personalities and characters in there. I just don't understand why we're so enamored with we're better than this, that, whatever. Do something first. They remind me of young comics who fucking do like 3 shows, and then they ask me how I get headlining spots somewhere. It's like 12 years in the business, asshole, not 2 weeks. You know, well, we're as good as you. But if you're not gonna do it, then fuck you. We're gonna put on our own shows. I'm like, why are you mad? What is happening?
And how do those shows usually work out?
Well, they might be smaller audiences, but the people there really are fans of it, and they understand what's going on, like AEW fans, morons who are just yelling out loud. But we get it. You're not corporate like you. I'm not corporate either, you asshole. We're all just people doing the same fucking thing. You can enjoy both shows, but you can learn from watching the better fucking product.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where we're gonna end. That's a great way to end right there. You could with that? I think that's a great closing line.
I guess, but my only problem is that this is the first time that we've done an entire episode and we've not talked about Baron Corbin, and I don't know how I feel about that.
No, we're done there, Pat. We're done there. Watch the better show, learn more. Okay, thank you everybody for listening today. We appreciate you. No, I'm laughing because nobody can see the pain on Pat's face as I try to end this episode before we talk about Baron Corbin. Actually, you know what? No, we recorded this a little bit of video. I might have to put this out, Pat, just so people can see the pain.
Yeah, go ahead. Get people to watch. Watch my pain. Tag Baron Corbin in it and say, "I'm sorry, sir." We'll do it a whole Baron Corbin exclusive next time.
All right, wonderful. Well, all right, for those of you who listened to the episode, thank you very much for tuning in. Get at us on social media. We're on Twitter and Facebook at Podcast316. You can find us on Instagram at Podcast316, all one word. Drop us an email, podcast316@gmail.com. And please, we ask again, if you are listening on whatever platform it is, Apple, Spotify, Google, Anchor, whatever it is, please leave us that great 5-star review. Helps us grow, helps us get out to more listeners and more people. And thank you to those who have already been supporting. But for myself,
share the episodes.
Yes,
tell people you're listening.
And we have actually, I noticed a couple of people did add us to a couple of wrestling groups like we asked last time. So thank you for that. We appreciate you. Continue up the activity. Pat and I love doing this, and we love that you guys enjoy listening. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. And Bray Wyatt is God.